Hello everyone, my name is Anna.
And I'm Laura.
And we are here to talk about multiple intelligences, Gardner's theory.
More specifically, about two of the 8 intelligences of this theory, naturalistic and visual-spatial intelligence.
We have also created an activity to promote these two intelligences, and we are going to talk about it in this video too.
Even putting images of how the activity should be done.
So let's move on to the video. Traditionally, intelligence was considered as a whole, just one intelligence similar in each of us and linked to intelligence quotient or IQ, which is usually measured with a standardized test, for example, Wechsler IQ test. 2 decades ago, Howard Gardner stirred up psychology's scene and that conception of intelligence when he came up with his multiple intelligences theory. From Gardner's point of view, intelligence is not only one anymore. There are multiple intelligence, specifically 8. Linguistic intelligence, logical mathematical intelligence, visual-spatial intelligence, musical intelligence, body and kinetic intelligence, 2 forms of personal intelligence, intrapersonal and interpersonal, and naturalistic intelligence. Each of us developed them in a different way, and they could also have an unequal development. All of that without supposing a drawback for self-realization. This is the main difference between the traditional idea of intelligence and Gardner's new perspective. In the past, we were considered alike, and now, through this new perspective, we are considered as unique and different individuals. We are going to focus on 2 of the 8 intelligences raised by Gardner: visual-spatial intelligence and naturalistic intelligence.
Visual-spatial intelligence is the capacity of accurately perceiving visual and spatial world and the ability of making perceptual transformation of that reality, even if the visual stimulus is absent. This involves 3D vision, move on from 2D to 3D, being capable of visualizing an object from different points of view, solving spatial problems, to imagine how things could move or transform, to orient oneself in a place, recreate past visual-spatial stimulus, placement and relationship of objects and things in space, bring to reality imaginary conceptions, read maps, the capacity to visualize, dream and imagine, etc. To sum up, visual-spatial intelligence refers to the capacity of perceiving our world and creating a mind image of it. We can define naturalistic intelligence as the capacity of categorize surrounding elements, recognizing their differences and the way they relate to each other, and using that information to interact with them beneficially. Its main scope of observation is natural world, including flora and fauna. Nevertheless, Gardner clarified that he understood it applied also in the recognition and classification of all types of environments, urban, suburban, or rural.
We know this theory have a really important role in education, so that's why we have created an activity that promotes both naturalistic and visual-spatial intelligence that could be used in educational context. We have made our very own activity to promote both intelligences about we talk about through this report. Specifically, we display a practical proposal of a gincana named Farm Rebellion, whereby children do a route around any countryside. This activity is gathered towards a maximum of 10 people, from 3 years old up to 10 years old, and in the case of having a bigger group of children, then they should split into teams. It's also required 2 adults or teachers as monitors of the gincana, and in the case of having a bigger group of children, then it could be convenient to also have a bigger group of monitors. Each child is going to have a different animal mask: bear, monkey, rabbit, and in the case of having such a big group of children that they are split into teams, each team is going to represent a different animal: bear's team, monkey's team, rabbit's team. Apart from the mask, children should also bring with them a map of the area in which it will be specified the places where they could find all clues and challenges. Thus, in terms of materials, it's going to be needed animal masks, a map, or maps in the case that there are groups, and some kind of prize for children to find at the end of the gincana. The area where the gincana takes place should be some kind of countryside, and it's important that students could have some kind of interaction not only with vegetation, but also with any kind of animals: donkeys, hens, horses, pigs, dogs, cats, etc. Working in that way with naturalistic intelligence in a more comprehensive way. Clues and challenges used in the gincana should be related to nature. For example, clues could lead to animals, places like waterfalls, lakes, trees, hen houses, rivers, caves. And challenges could be about mimic or interact with animals, collect flowers and leaves for later on identifying them, identify and interact with vegetation, trees, bushes, plants, identify fruits and vegetables, taste them if possible, determine meteorological conditions, if it's raining, if it's foggy, or maybe if it's sunny, among many other things. All of the mentioned above is for working with naturalistic intelligence. On the other hand, for working with Visual-Spatial intelligence, children could help with the creation of the gincana map, or in the case that they are split into groups, in the creation of a map for each group. In that way, we are working with 3D representation in a 2D view and also with creativity. When they already start to use the map when the gincana starts, we are going to also work with spatial orientation and location, Visual-Spatial intelligence, and also the recognition of the area, Naturalistic intelligence. Another useful activity for working with these two intelligences is to ask children to make their own animal masks. By doing that, we are going to also work with creativity, imagination, and also the recognition of different animals and their characteristics. Farm Rebellion Gincana ends when the children have reunited all clues and have done all challenges, which allows them to get the final prize.